Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Have you just started a brand new island for the new year, or maybe you're thinking about experimenting with a new theme? If so, this video could be really helpful for you. I realized the other day I have never done a video where I sit down and explain to you my process of starting a new island theme. So today I'm going to cover everything from the point where I think of a new island concept until I actually start decorating. I'll cover all of the little steps that I take in between, so hopefully this will help you out. So let's get started. The first step in the process is going to be coming up with your island theme or idea. Your island does not necessarily have to be a particular theme, but it is helpful at least to have a direction you want your island to go in. Usually for me, I will get a spark of inspiration as to what I want my next island to be, usually when I'm trying to finish off another island. But that idea usually starts off as something small. For example, the idea of my music festival island came from seeing some camper vans on an island tour, and I remembered touring a music inspired island and just put them together. So even if you get the teeniest bit of an idea, let your imagination run wild and trust your gut. If you're too nervous to fully commit, try and plan a little and then decide if it's for you. Trust me, I never thought I would have a music festival island. If you're the type of person who thinks that they struggle coming up with ideas, then I'll put some videos in the description that you may find useful. So once I have my idea in place, the next thing I like to do is get some visual references or inspiration. This can be from Animal Crossing or real life photos. Sometimes I take from my own life experience. For example, on my coastal town, my first coastal town, that was very much inspired from what I knew as a child, but most of the time either a quick search on Google or Pinterest will help me think about how a theme could look in Animal Crossing. One example of this was for a collab build where I did a pier. The theme was British summertime, and I knew that I wanted to recreate a pier sort of like Brighton or something, so I had a quick Google search to get some inspiration of how it may look and how I can kind of translate that into the game as well. I really think it's important to not underestimate the value of visual inspiration, because in your head it's all well and good, but actually seeing something helps you put the pieces together, I think. The third thing that I like to do is have a think about what kind of colour scheme I would like for my island. I tend to do this before looking for custom designs, as it helps narrow down my search for designs. It can be so overwhelming having a look at designs and not really having kind of any particular theme or idea colours in mind. So definitely narrowing it down helps. Having a colour scheme can also be really important if you're wanting a cohesive island. So for this reason, I tend to stick to either one or two colours and have another colour to back it up. And this other colour may be the colour that I choose for my path, or bricks, or simple panels, things like that, so that they complement each other nicely and it's used throughout the whole island. For example, on my current vintage Kidcot island that I've just started, I'm going with pink, a little bit of yellow, and my main kind of wood path colour is going to be light beige, and when that's not possible, for example the inclines, I'll use white. So once I've done that, now it's time for the most fun yet tedious steps, and that is code shopping. I love to code shop, but it is tedious because it takes a long time. I normally search on Pinterest. There's a Discord that I love that I'm a part of. Sometimes I have things saved on Instagram and Twitter. Some things I have saved in my phone just from when I've randomly seen them and screenshotted them and saved them for later. But what I tend to do, because often I find that things don't look the same when you place them down, is I will write down a list of codes that I want to try, and then I'll give them a go. Sometimes it's a yay, sometimes it's a nay. Particularly this is common with paths. I find that very often the paths don't look how I want them to when placed down, so sometimes they get the chop pretty quickly. But once I have my paths, normally some picnic blankets, some blanket fringes, some filler codes, I'm normally pretty good to go. So then I might make like a mood board and see how things look all together. So by this point, I've probably already reset my island. If not, I'm very close to. And I do have a think about what I want my map to look like. So for my current 2.0 coastal town, I have a huge entrance area, and I wanted this because of a dock build that I wanted to do. So I knew that when I was resetting for that island, that I wanted my resident services far away from the entrance. This may not apply to you, but it's still worthwhile remembering. This might also come in handy if you're thinking about a no terraforming island. I've never done it personally, but definitely bear that in mind. I also like to think about the airport colour. I know this might be a minute detail for some, but the little kind of perfectionist in me has to have a certain airport or not a certain colour depending on what kind of theme I am doing. I obviously can't build without any furniture, so at this point I'm probably thinking about what sort of furniture do I want for this island. Looking through Nookazon, creating a wish list is a great way to be organised, or there are certain apps that you can use as well. But otherwise, just kind of go off the colour scheme that I'm using and pick furniture that way. Once I have sort of an idea as to what I want, I will head off to a treasure island and try and get some furniture so that I have an inventory worth of stuff. If you look at some of my storages, you will know that I am a huge hoarder and I like to keep stuff which I may use for eventualities should I need them for a particular build. Otherwise it just ruins my flow if I have to go and find a piece of item or time travel forward a day after I've ordered it. It's such a pain. If you don't have access to treasure islands, and obviously you can keep your eyes peeled on Happy Home Paradise, use your Nook shopping, you know how it works. But yeah, if you have a list written down, maybe do some trading on Nookazon as well, that's helpful. But having a good set of items to decorate with is so helpful. If I'm feeling organised, I will also think about what villagers I want. Sometimes there is one, maybe two particular villagers that I know I definitely want for an island. Sometimes I'm not that bothered, other times I really am quite like, I want these. And this is like the furniture, you can use apps, you can use pages to decide what villages you're going to want. I used to be so kind of perfectionist about this because of villager houses. If the house wasn't right, they're not coming in. But obviously now we have Happy Home Paradise so that we can customize the houses, which makes it so much better. But yeah, having a good set of villagers in my head is also helpful. Otherwise we end up with arguments on stream. But that is definitely a me problem. And the final step before I start decorating and building is definitely thinking about what sort of builds I want on my islands. Sometimes this can help with the layout, how I'm gonna plan my island layout as well, because I know that I'll want certain things in certain areas, or I might want a particular spot for a particular build. So for example, I did a vineyard and I wanted it on the peninsula on one of my farm islands, and I loved that, but I knew that that build, I wanted it to be there, so I had to leave that space and not fill it with anything else. So sometimes it's quite hard to do, but by this point I'm probably overwhelmed with build ideas. I probably will have written a list. Sometimes you guys suggest things on stream as well, which I have to make a mental note of because they are really good ideas. So it's really nice to have a good list of build ideas going into an island, so whenever you see something inspirational, maybe in a video, online, make sure you save it or make a note of it to use at a later date. It's so helpful. You've made it. You've made it to the end where I can now say, at this point, I would start building and decorating. It sounds like a lot, it is a lot, and it is quite overwhelming, but if I do all this before and it means that I finish my islands, then it is helpful and worth spending that time. I don't normally finish things, I always start hobbies, never finish them, but when it comes to my Animal Crossing islands, I do manage to finish them and I'm quite proud of that. So it's nice having them to look back at. Let me know if this helped you, I hope it did, and leave a comment below. Let me know if you do anything differently. Is there anything that you like to plan ahead of starting a brand new island? I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye bye!